And with cannabis still in the infancy stages of being legalized in Canada, so many questions, but we've got an expert here to kind of set us straight, as I said before the break. So Louise, thank you so much for coming in. And we had a great conversation in the green room before we came in. We were discussing so many different things. But firstly, how did you get even involved in doing a presentation like this to employers and employees?
I've been teaching health and safety for over 20 years.
Oh, so this is pretty familiar.
So the whole workplace thing is pretty familiar, and was watching some of the changes that were coming up and decided that it's important for employers to know some of the implications, have questions. It certainly fits with occupational health and safety. So it was an easy decision.
And when it became legal, was this something that you said, you know what, this is something that the public's going to have questions about and I want to make a presentation to help, or how did this really formulate?
Absolutely. So it's always staying one step ahead of what the questions might be, and it fits in with the type of businesses in the community that I support and the types of questions that they might have. Pretty much any business is going to be affected by this legislation.
Right. And what sort of topics are people really coming with questions about, and what things do you really hit home for during these presentations?
I like people to have an understanding of the legislation and it's where it comes from.
Right.
There's federal legislation, and then every province has its own. And I then specifically talk about the implications with the Occupational Health and Safety Act, because that's the health and safety perspective.
Of course.
And in federal workplaces, there's also Canada Labour Code Part 2. But I also I set the stage with how does this affect our bodies? So I want people to understand the health side of it, and that's where my nursing comes in.
Of course.
That I'm able to explain it, and I needed to understand it, so that's where I had to start before I could understand the implications and how this is going to affect people at work.
Absolutely, and we did have a graphic that came up on screen talking about the next presentation you have. Can you tell us a little bit about when it is, where it is, how people can get involved?
So our next presentation, partnering with Millworks Center for Entrepreneurship, and we're doing it on September 19th at 8 a.m. You can register by going to our website. You can call me, you can email me, and we'll get you registered. It's from 8 till 12. You get this great book. So we've got this for you. So there's good handouts. We've got infographic for you as well. And of course, anytime anyone's got questions, I'm available by email. I always tell my customers, if sometimes it's going to take you an hour to figure it out, just send me a quick email and I'll do what I can.
And you might go home after and kind of sit on it and have a few more questions that kind of run through your mind.
Exactly.
So, right. And I actually went to cover one of these events, one of the presentations one time, and it's such a nice setting. It's so open, and you can see the people asking so many questions and just not afraid to do that at all, which is perfect. So you also have a few other services that you were coming in to talk about as well. Can you tell us about that? I was checking out your website. By the way, it is a fantastic website. It looks amazing.
Thank you.
I'll let you go ahead.
Shout out to Miramar. They did a great job. I've been teaching health and safety for, like I said, over 20 years. So I do a lot with joint health and safety committees. I'm approved by the Ministry of, actually approved by the Chief Prevention Officer. That's the official approval. And so I can teach certification training. I've just received approval for the refresher training, so that's also going to launch this month. I teach lots of confined space training and slip, strips, and falls. Violence and harassment is another really timely topic, and it fits in with some of the cannabis as well. So it's the hardcore, the ladders and the slips and falls, and then the softer issues, and it's the nursing background that allows me to do it. But it's all about people at work and keeping them safe at work, healthy at work.
And with cannabis in play now too, I'm sure there's going to be a few misconceptions on how people can consume depending on their job types. What would you say is the biggest misconception people usually come to you with?
People really don't understand why there's so much hype. If I'm smoking on the weekend, what does it matter on Monday morning? Mm-hmm. And so that's where we delve into the courses for the workers and the supervisors in terms of, if somebody's using on Friday, they may still be impaired on Monday morning. We don't everyone's different. No two people are going to react the same way because of our bodies, because of how they use, how often they use. And so it's not like having a couple of beer on Friday night or even Sunday night and going to work Monday morning. There are too many variables, and we don't fully understand them yet.
Right, like you say, it affects everybody differently, body size, receptors. It could be a million different other things.
Exactly.
So does anything that you tell to your guests when they come to the presentation really take them back or take them by surprise at all?
I think the people are very concerned about, drug testing and, can I get in trouble at work? If I need this for work? So medical cannabis, certainly authorization is a big topic of discussion, and it's really important on the employer side to understand that if your employee has authorization for medical cannabis, it doesn't mean that they can come to work impaired. So it's a tricky one to maneuver, but one that has to be done keeping workers safe, keeping other workers safe, and it really matters what kind of job it is. If somebody's driving a piece of heavy equipment versus somebody's in the office and it's your accountant, your accountant can make some adding mistakes, but isn't going to kill somebody. Whereas your people out on the heavy equipment driving on the highway, they can. Yeah,
it's a lot easier to explain the crumbs in your keyboards from snacking at your office desk than whatever could go wrong driving heavy machinery.
So it's really quite a big issue, and it has to be looked at in all of those terms. So we call those safety-sensitive positions.
Right.
So it's those safety-sensitive positions where you need to make decisions. You have to have memory. You have to be able to quickly decide whether to turn right, turn left, stop, proceed, and all of those things can be affected by not only cannabis but other medications as well.
Oh, absolutely.
So that's why we call it a fit for duty policy. So you need to be basically clean and able to do your job and well rested and make sure that you're safe. The other thing we do in those courses is teach employers how to assess someone, right? Are they acting differently? Are they stumbling? Are they slurring their words? And that might be a medical issue, not necessarily a drug issue. So know your employees and be in tune with what's going on with them.
Absolutely. We are running a bit out of time, but before I let you go, I want to know a little bit about, for parents at home, like you're talking to parents, you're talking to grandparents, like you said, the neighbors, the aunts and uncles.
They're in my classes.
Yeah, to take these conversations home and do them in the right way with their child, what would be the best way to go about approaching it?
Be open, be honest, go to the Ontario Cannabis site, go to the Health Canada site. There's excellent factual information, and that's how kids are going to listen. I have real concerns with the developing brain, and I always mention that in my class as well. It's different than a 40-year-old using than a teenager, but it's also amount. Get the information, have a discussion at the dinner table. It's great.
I know, and some kids will always say, oh yeah, you think you know that, well, I'll just use Google, ask Google, and you'll get the answers. But that's exactly what you're encouraging, right?
Absolutely,
so
absolutely.
There's so much more in store at these presentations. Like I said, I've went to them, I know how they work, and they went immaculate. They went amazing. So make sure, if this is something that interests you, get online, check it out, and make sure you know your stuff. But Louise, thank you so much for coming on.
Thanks for having me.
This was a great conversation, and there will be more morning show right after this.